Okay, we're here. We have completed the XB821, the E car. It's XB8E21. So we're gonna go through how the build went, how I set my build up. We're gonna talk about the manual. There was a couple things that I did notice, so we're gonna give a couple complaints about that. And we're also gonna compare the 21 to last year's 20. So give you a little bit better idea versus just talking about it. We want to show you the differences and how it's going to either affect or not affect you, depending on what kind of a racer you are. So first things first, we'll get some Glamour Shots. This was painted by Designs by Hicks here in town. So crushed it as per usual, some blue pearl in the front end and some extra dots and things like that. So let's get right into the build. So I used the saddle pack configuration. So in this kit, you do get the dual 2S saddle pack shorties, or you do get the other option, which is your just standard 4S. Everything that you see now on the new 21, everyone does talk about how this really changes the car, really makes it handle a lot better. So I decided to try it. So we're gonna run it at the furthest back location for the battery themselves. You do also have the option, however, to run them more forward mast and get them up in the middle of the car. So these inserts just unscrew. So there's 2 bolts on the bottom of the chassis, and you can see the nut is still there, and there's one on the back side of the battery. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So those 2 screws, and then 2 screws on the bottom of those mounts. So they're super easy to move around and change. We use the Hobbywing XR8 SCT speed control and a 1900 kV T8 G2 kicking around. We use the high-tech D946TW, all aluminum case, titanium geared servo. This will probably get changed out sometime to the new S25 eventually, the Power HD, but we'll work on that after. And then we have the Futaba R334SBSE. So the antenna-less, even though it has a teeny tiny little antenna there. So it's closest to antenna-less as we can get for the E-cars. But yeah, that was the build. It went pretty smooth. It didn't really change a whole heck of a lot other than we bought the Hudy servo arm. Everything else, however, is pretty much bone stock kit. So nothing really crazy there. So getting into the build, honestly, it's a typical Xray build, like 10 out of 10 quality. The fit and finish on everything is absolutely flawless. The one thing I do want to mention though, and this is just one that I noticed, was in the manual, they do always give you pill options, right? So here we want the pill to the inside in the shock tower, but they never checked off if it's a 1 degree or a 0.5 degree. So you're kind of guessing a little bit. So it kind of sucks because the other thing this leads me into is most other kits do give you at least a box stock kit setup. Where this one, it just doesn't. So you really have to go online to the Team Xray page to get that box stock kit set up to just figure out if you needed to use the 0.5 or the 1. This kit does require the 1. So if you're watching this video, following along, building your car, it does require the 1 all the way down to the inside, not the 0.5. So that was my one complaint there. Other than that, I would say the build was absolutely phenomenal. It was one of those builds where you start building and you get halfway through and you just look at the watch and it's like, oh, I've been here for 2.5 hours. It's just an enjoyable build. Everything makes sense. It's not frustrating. All the parts you need are in the bag. You're not searching for nothing. You're not hunting for nothing. Super, super straightforward, super easy. So I would recommend this kit to anybody. That manual is absolutely phenomenal. But now let's get into the really big differences. So first things first, body. Again, like we talked about in the unboxing videos, the bodies do change. So this is the new Easy Body. Looks very similar to some of the J Concept shells. So it has kind of this nice swoop down the side to get airflow and get it to be a little bit more easy to drive, a little bit easier to jump. So instead of having the channels down the front A-pillars and over the roof, it has a singular vein down the middle. Not quite as swooped in the back section. So if you look at this here, it has a lot of swoop. The Easy Body is actually quite flat. It's pretty much flat down, but it has that big nice chin on the back to get it up and on the wing to get your downforce back that way. So a little bit different. Windows look really sleek, how they like teardrop back. So pretty neat, I like it. This body was also done by Designs by Hicks as well. Kind of a very similar design with the pearl and the underlays and stuff like that, but pretty sweet. So this is last year's 20. He actually did a saddle pack conversion on this car as well. This is what Ty Tessman was running last year. All you have to do to make it work is there is a 3D printed block in here as essentially like a brick holder. You do have to drill out the bottom of that plate, essentially, countersink it. And Dalton, the guy that 3D printed this, gave us 2 holes, I do believe, to countersink into there. So it was pretty snug, hasn't moved around, hasn't given him any grief. But this gets it a little bit closer to the weight of a nitro, which is the exact same option that this gives us as well. So moving on to the comparison now. With doing the dual saddle pack, it is a new servo mount that only comes with this setup. You do get this setup as well in the box, so the bigger carbon fiber radio box holder and servo holder all in one. The one thing I did notice is we both have the same Hudy servo horn, but they do recommend using the second hole. I found it really had a high angle and it wasn't completely square and parallel like I would want it to be. So I did move it out to the outside hole. So if you do have a shorter servo horn, I would highly recommend to maybe look at a longer one just to get that linkage a little bit more square. Keeping in the front end of the car though, the biggest change also is the upper deck. So you can see the center drive line is kind of on an angle on the 20. It isn't quite moved over as far, and that servo brace is really, really close to hitting the drive shaft. On the new 21, they do move that over and they do actually square up the drivetrain. So the front shaft is actually much more square in the car for a little bit more efficient drivetrain. They also flip the motor around. So instead of the motor being back on the back half of the car, it's actually way up front and is using those 2 batteries to really offset its weight and keep that car balance 50-50 left to right. Really, the other thing that changes, and this is a big one for some of the nitro people, they kind of were a little mad at this. I've heard some mixed reviews, but mostly it's a little bit angry. On the new electric car, this is 100% a electric only chassis. There is no swapping to a nitro, there is no nothing like that. You do get 2 center diff holes. So this hole that it's currently in is obviously for the saddle pack design. This other orientation is going to be for the regular 4S design like this car would be. The other difference though is this car gives you the option, if you ever did bend a chassis and you had a big race, you could swap chassis over to your nitro to your electric, or swap clips over, or whatever you want to do, and you could get by on a weekend on a big race using the same chassis in 20. 21, not so much. So like I said, mixed reviews on that. But other than that, there was very little changes in the suspension stuff. The one notable change I will make is on the inside of the pillow balls here. There is going to be the graphite, I'm going to call them top hats. I don't think that's what they're called. I think they call them pillow ball bushings that are actually graphite on the 21. So a little bit more longevity in that part. Plus it's not going to like tear, rip, or it's not going to like groove up as quick as what the standard plastics would be. Other than that, not really a whole heck of a lot has changed. The one thing I will say about any Xray build though, easy, super easy. Everything fits, there's no filing, there's no reaming, there's nothing like that. The arms for the pillow balls do come pre-threaded, which is a huge win. I've built some Huygens and some Team Associated cars in my day, and the upper and lower arms are not threaded. And for anybody that has not threaded those, you have no idea how much of a struggle. But if you have threaded them, you know how much of a struggle it is. All of the rod ends are also pre-threaded, which again, Xray luxury. Definitely there's a reason for that price increase, and it's quality materials, fit and finish of the kit. But little things like that that just again make your kit build go so much easier. Other than that, that's about all I got. So now next up, we are gonna go test these out of the track. Race season is just around the corner, and we're gonna see, is the 21 actually better than the 20? Everyone said the 20 was awesome, no need to update. But like, we're gonna lay it down on the track, and we're gonna tell you, the consumer, what we think is better and why. So if you like this video, you wanna see more action, you don't wanna miss it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notifications so you don't miss it. There's also gonna be a 20 versus 21 Nitro kit review, as well as a kind of head-to-head challenge. So we'll look forward to that. But yeah, thanks everyone so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.